All right, this is a recap of your notes from September 5th on 2012, and this is my voice. I'm Mr. Rife. We introduced the term biodiversity today. It is the amount of variation of living forms. So biodiversity is one of these things that we really look towards when we are considering environmental science. The articles that you pulled up and reported on, they all come down it all comes down to biodiversity. And we really look to biodiversity as an indicator of how healthy an ecosystem or a habitat is. If there's a wide range of biodiversity, then we have usually it's a good indicator of its health, of a good, strong, healthy ecosystem. So we have 4 levels of biodiversity. One is just the biodiversity of species, multiple species. A species is a group of organisms that interbreed. They actually are able to have a mating ritual, and then they go ahead and they do what they do without getting too specific. The second one is habitat. This is a micro-location, a smaller location where species will live, and they'll do their the things that they do, which include and usually relate to everything around eating and everything around mating. So, and raising a family. So that's the second thing. The third thing is an ecosystem. This is a macro location. This is a lot larger. So think about habitats as being maybe a backyard, or like a lake or a stream. Where an ecosystem is a macro location, something like Yellowstone Park, or something larger than that. Actually, Yellowstone Park is a small ecosystem. So this is a lot bigger, and this is where populations of many organisms of the same species, not just maybe a pack of wolves, but entire wolf populations in that ecosystem. That's where they live. So just think an ecosystem is habitat multiplied by 1,000 or 1,000,000. And then finally, a biome. A biome is there's similar ecosystems within a region which have the same climate. So we talk about climate being, maybe the same temperature ranges or the same amount of precipitation. You'll never find a desert up in northern Minnesota because it's just too much rain. We also discussed 5 threats to biodiversity. First one is, and they make an acronym called HIPPO. So remember that HIPPO, the H stands for habitat destruction, I stands for invasive species, P is for pollution, the other P is for overpopulation, and finally the last O is for over-harvesting. So any type of removal of biodiversity in a habitat can be considered habitat destruction. So we talked about how in Louisiana they're losing the bayou. That's a form of habitat destruction. Invasive species, we've talked about these a lot. We've talked about Asian carp or zebra mussels, and there's all sorts of invasive species that have no biological checks or balances to them. Pollution is occurring every day, all the time. If you drove to school today, you polluted. It's the using of our resources and maybe the overuse of our resources and how we dispose of them. And then overpopulation, we're up to the Earth's population is 7 billion. So some of the class we've talked about, that means we have to provide energy and resources and food for over 7 billion people every day. And it does take a toll on the environment and biodiversity in general. And then finally, overharvesting be something like commercial fishing, or maybe overhunting, maybe taking too many deer, or too many of a specific species. So your homework for tonight is to come up with 3 or more, definitely opportunities for more reasons why why it would be important for you to conserve biodiversity. And this gets to the heart of why we study environmental science to begin with. So this is your recap, and try to do this whenever we take notes. Thanks. Goodbye.